Get ready for a quick quest guide for the Horror from the Deep quest, in which the main rewards for completing are access to god books, access to the Lighthouse, and access to the Dagganoth caves, as well as just over 4,500 experience in magic, strength, and ranged, as well as 2 quest points. You'll need to have completed the Alfred Grimhand's Barcrawl mini-quest before taking on this one, and you'll also need to have level 35 agility. Also, while not essential, having 40 prayer for ranged protection is hugely helpful, as is having level 13 magic to cast all elemental spells. Having well-rounded combat stats to take on the Dagganoth Mother is generally helpful too, with 50 combat being officially recommended for this quest. On top of this, you'll need quite a few items. This includes 1 air, water, earth, and fire rune, as well as any sword or longsword that you're willing to lose, and 1 of any basic metal arrow, for example steel or mithril. You'll additionally want a tinderbox, a hammer, 60 steel nails, 2 regular planks, 1 molten glass, and 1 swamp tar. On top of all of this, you'll need the ability to deal damage with air, water, earth, and fire spells, as well as with ranged and additionally with melee. Then while not essential, you'll also want some armor that you can use to tribrid attack in, a few pieces of food to sustain your health and for healing after going through some agility obstacles, and 2 prayer potions to help keep up your protect from ranged prayers. If you don't have access to protect from ranged, then consider bringing along a ring of recoil. A side note is that when it comes to food, summer pies are great as they temporarily raise your agility by 5 levels. Additionally, having 1 stamina potion will make getting around a little smoother, and having a charged games necklace is highly helpful for teleports both to a bank and to near the lighthouse. If you've completed a fairy tale part 2, then having your drum and stuff handy, as well as a teleport to a nearby fairy ring, such as a South Graveyard teleport, will be hugely helpful as well. Now you can begin this quest at the lighthouse west of the Fremennik province or northwest of the Barbarian outpost, and you can teleport to the Barbarian outpost using a games necklace. Note that the obstacles you need to cross to get to the lighthouse from the Barbarian outpost are rather annoying. Alternatively, if you've completed a fairy tale part 2, then you can get to the lighthouse using the ALP fairy ring, which I highly recommend. To start the quest, talk to Larissa outside the lighthouse and begin by asking, "With what?" And after some more chatter, then ask, "But how can I help?" Before then selecting yes to officially begin the quest before finishing up the conversation with, "I'll see what I can do." Now run a long ways east all the way until you come across a broken bridge. Once you reach this bridge, you'll want to use one of your planks on the bridge, then select to cross the bridge to get to the other side before using your other plank on the bridge to complete the makeshift walkway across. Next up, use your games necklace to teleport to the Barbarian outpost and then run east and go through the gate to the agility course before going south through the pipe obstacle to the main course. Around the center of the course, a barbarian named Gunjorn will be roaming about. Talk to Gunjorn and go through the chat, and at the end of it you'll obtain the lighthouse key. Key in hand, you now need to make your way back to Larissa. Using the ALP fairy ring is by far the easiest way if you have access to them from completing a fairy tale part 2, but if you don't have access to them, then you can just run out of the agility course and head northwest before crossing the agility rocks to make your way back to the lighthouse. Again, these agility rocks can be really frustrating to cross, and I would suggest eating a summer pie to boost your agility level for this. After making it back to Larissa, talk to her and go through the chat, and once it's complete, walk through the doorway into the lighthouse and climb up the stairs twice to reach the top. Upon reaching the top, you'll notice the broken lighting mechanism in the center. First, use your swamp tar on it, then use your tinderbox on it, and finally use your molten glass on the lighting mechanism to fully repair it. Once it's working, climb down the staircase twice and then climb the iron ladder down into the basement. To the north will be a strange wall. Use your air rune, your water rune, your earth rune, your fire rune, your sword, and your metal arrow on the strange wall one at a time, selecting yes to confirm that you're okay with losing it for good each time. After everything has been offered up to the door, you'll then be able to open the strange wall from the eastern side to go through it. Now climb down the iron ladder in front of you and talk to Josic nearby, who has a broken leg and is freaking out. And after the chat finishes, it'll be time for the boss fights. The first one against a level 100 Dagganoth is super easy, and this enemy can be safe spotted if needed. To safe spot it, all you need to do is run west next to the pond and it won't be able to get to you. Then just use ranged or magic to defeat it. Following this comes the real test where you need to fight the Dagganoth mother. The mother's color constantly changes, signifying what it's currently weak to, and it can only be hurt by what it's weak against. If it's white, then it's weak to air spells, blue water spells, orange melee attacks, brown earth spells, red fire spells, and finally green will mean it's weak to ranged attacks. Keep changing up how you attack the boss to match what color it's displaying. I found that sometimes this boss gets a little stuck and you can safe spot it for a while, but other times its attacks work as usual, with the mother attacking with ranged, launching 2 separate hits that can hit up to 12 each. So if you have Protect from ranged, absolutely use it. If you don't have Protect from ranged, then making use of a Ring of Recoil will work great. Also note that when it's on its melee color, provided that it's not attacking you properly, you can flinch it if you like to avoid taking hits. Keep changing up your attacks to match the color of the Dagganoth mother and you'll eventually defeat it. After the Dagganoth mother's defeated, bam! Quest complete. You'll be awarded access to God books, access to the Lighthouse, and access to the Dagganoth caves, as well as just over 4,500 experience in magic, strength, and ranged, as well as 2 quest points. Post-quest, head up the iron ladder and then up the staircase once, and then right-click on Josic and select rewards, and after some chatter choose whether you want a Saradomin, Zamorak, or Guthix god book, confirming it twice to receive a damaged book aligning to that god. And you're all done. Thanks so much for watching, catch you in the next quest!